So I just want to say a few words then from my own perspective on Enclude. Somebody rang me up a few years ago and said, "Hello, is that Exclude?" I said, "Well, near enough, but actually we're Enclude." And Enclude is about inclusion. Inclusion is a value that I think in recent times, especially with some votes on either side of us across the water, have been challenged in a chilling way. We want to build a society that is inclusive. And maybe this is a time where we need to say that that's a core value to us. And then Enclude is about e-inclusion. It's a technology strategy to harness the power of technology to help fellow charities include more people and to include them in better services within our limited resources. And that's our contribution. And therefore, when we think about IT, what it ultimately means is inclusion technology. Now, it all started as an idea in my head when I reflected on years of experience in community development. I'd worked in Limerick, I'd worked in Ballymun, I'd worked in Caracas in Venezuela. But also I had been a co-founder of Make Poverty History in the noughties, and in the 90s I'd been involved in the Garvaghey Road Residents Coalition. And reflecting on all those projects, it's clear to me the significance of access to information and use of information for strategic purposes. It's an integral part of our capacity to change society. And fortunately, when I had that idea, I met with Kieran Hayden, who had led the SAP's consulting team and who had skills that could combine with mine to be able to start something new here and to deal with what was lacking in charities, the ability to use the technology to change what they did. So we armed ourselves with a kind of an ambitious business plan, and we started, and we were actually flying early on because we got a Social Entrepreneurs Award in the first year. So why is what we do important has already been indicated by both Susie and by Joan. Charities work in the coalface in our society, thousands of charities. And therefore, they have information about what's going on in society that nobody else has. That many charities have information about where we fail, about the victims of societal failures in society. And therefore, we need that information if we're to learn and change. But the reality is the information is often in people's heads, in people's hearts, in multiple bits of paper, in multiple bits of technology, and is not accessible. So part of the technology strategy is to get that technology together. And to get us together in a single shared place where the information can be used so we can learn how to do things better and we can actually effectively lead to change. So Enclude believes we can change the world through an information liberation, a liberation of that information from where it was. And that by harvesting and harnessing the data, we can learn to focus on where change is needed, and also we can ensure that our engagement with the change is effective. An example of that was Anchor Treatment Centre, when we went down to meet Sister Miriam, who only died last month. And she's an example of a person who knew what's going on in the area of alcohol addiction. She knew personally people, she knew families, and she knew communities. And we were fortunate to be able to work with her to design a solution that would effectively help them do their work. And that's when ECAS was born. But then another fortuitous meeting happened. We met with Caroline Gardner and Quality Matters. Because the information that we were managing at that point was about outputs, about what was happening there. But there's another important level about information that we have, that's outcomes. Do we actually achieve in making change for real people? And Quality Matters had specialised in outcome frameworks, and that we discovered we could integrate that into ECAS and produce even better information for change. And so I already expressed my thanks. And then the next thing we did in partnership with Quality Matters is there's over 150 addiction services in Ireland, but to help the information to roll up so that it would go to Susie and would go to drugs task forces and would go to others, So that not only are we dealing with the individual change in individual places, but we could look at that information in a national way and say, well, are we winning or are we losing as a society in that area? And that same process can happen for every area we work in. We work in homelessness, we work in family services, in children's services and domestic violence. If we can harness the information and if we can roll it up to the policymakers, there's a much better chance that we will change society. And that's the ultimate goal of Enclude. So 10 years have passed from 2 lonely people to over 22 people. Projects all over the world, but mostly in Ireland. And we're helping people align what they do with the best of technology in order to produce results that have highest impact. And that we're allowing the information to be gathered in such a way that it can roll up and help us as a society change and to be better. I personally have been hugely blessed by all the people who joined me on this journey. And as I say, I want to express sincere thanks for that. People with much greater skills than I have. And people with generosity that I don't fully realise why. But together, Enclude has become a team. And it's a pleasure just to be working on that team. And we're only at the beginning. You know, we have the strategy of inclusion technology. But in our information liberation project, it's only beginning. We're only at chapter 1. And we have a long way to go. And we have the fortune to be engaged in 17 countries in Latin America in new projects. And I think we were excited about that. But Africa is waiting as well. And we would hope that anything we've learned here, we can share there with the future. So that's where Enclude would like to go in the next 10 years. And you've been very kind to listen for the morning, but there is one message that I want to say, and just take the opportunity of having the microphone. And that's to the funders of charities. And to say, and many of those funders are state funders, to say, we want to partner with you in this information project. And we hope in some ways that people let go of some of the old ways of creating reporting systems to get information. It's much more effective if you want accurate and timely information. If you give the service providers, the charities, if you allow them to have the right technology, the best of technology, that captures that information at the minute of engagement with the client. And that you allow that best technology aggregate the data. And then, because we're all connected, that data will just flow up to the top, if you allow it. Okay? And there's a lot of old ways that need to change in order for that to happen. But our pledge to you is, look at what you really need to do is just say what information you need, how you need that information, and where we can put it. And Susie Lyons and the Health Research Board is an absolute model for that way of proceeding, and everybody benefits. So finally, the invitation is to everybody here and everybody you know to join us in this information revolution. Together, let's build a society that is truly inclusive and just. But in building that society, let's use information to let us know what we need to do. Let's use information to learn how to do it. And at the end of the day, the information will tell us when we make our goal. And when we achieve that society, we certainly will have something to celebrate. Thank you very much.